Eugene Krabs, the man, the myth, the cheapest crab in the sea. We know him for his mountain of money. But what happens when that mountain disappears? Most of the time, Mr. Krabs is the one doing the taking. But today, we are looking at the rare and tragic times where the world took it all back. These are the moments Mr. Krabs lost everything. Mr. Krabs has always been protective of his money. Very protective. So protective, in fact, that in the lost mattress, he decides the safest place to store his life savings isn't a bank. It's his mattress. Unfortunately, nobody else knows that. After seeing Mr. Krabs struggle to sleep on his old, worn-out mattress, SpongeBob, Patrick, and Squidward decide to do something nice for their boss. They throw the mattress away and replace it with a brand new one. A thoughtful gesture for most people. A complete disaster for Mr. Krabs. The moment he learns what happened, panic sets in. Not because he lost a mattress, but because he lost everything hidden inside it. Years of savings, all tossed into a dump somewhere in Bikini Bottom. For a character who measures success in dollars and cents. This is about as bad as it gets. In fact, the shock is so severe that Mr. Krabs falls into what the episode calls a cash coma. His entire world comes to a stop the second he believes his fortune is gone. And honestly, it's not hard to see why. Unlike some entries on this list where Mr. Krabs risks losing everything, here he actually believes it's already happened. As far as he's concerned, his money is gone forever. Meanwhile, SpongeBob, Patrick, and Squidward are left with the impossible task of fixing the mistake. Retrieving a mattress from a massive dump is difficult enough. Doing it while avoiding a giant guard worm makes it even worse. What follows is a desperate attempt to recover the one thing Mr. Krabs values most: his money. The episode is a perfect example of how much of Mr. Krabs' identity is tied to his fortune. The loss of a single mattress completely breaks him, because to him, that mattress represented everything he had worked for. And for a while, it looks like it's all gone. For Mr. Krabs, few losses hit harder than this one, because unlike losing a business or an employee, this was his life savings. And for one terrifying moment, he thought it had disappeared forever. If there's one thing Mr. Krabs loves more than money, it's... Actually, there probably isn't. And Born Again Krabs might be the best example of that. The episode asks a simple question: how much is SpongeBob worth to Mr. Krabs? The answer somehow ends up being 62 cents.
62 cents!
After the Flying Dutchman arrives at the Krusty Krab, Mr. Krabs finds himself in a position to make a quick profit. Without thinking much about the consequences, he agrees to sell SpongeBob to the ghostly pirate in exchange for a handful of coins. Just like that, SpongeBob is gone. And at first, Mr. Krabs couldn't be happier. He celebrates the deal, admires his new wealth, and acts as if he just pulled off the greatest business transaction of his life. To him, it's easy money, no risks, no downsides, or so he thinks. The problem is that everyone around him sees the deal for what it really is. He didn't sell a piece of equipment. He didn't sell part of the restaurant. He sold SpongeBob. The more Mr. Krabs is confronted with that reality, the harder it becomes to ignore. What initially felt like a victory slowly starts to feel like a mistake. Mr. Krabs begins worrying about something more important than money: his conscience. As the guilt starts piling up, the 62 cents suddenly doesn't seem like much of a bargain anymore. In fact, it becomes a constant reminder of how cheaply he was willing to give away someone who had been nothing but loyal to him. That's what makes this such a memorable loss for Mr. Krabs. Technically, he made a profit, but in every other way, he lost. He lost SpongeBob. For a character who usually measures success by the amount of money in his pocket, Born Again Krabs shows what happens when a profit comes at too high a cost. And all it took was 62 cents. For most of the series, Mr. Krabs treats SpongeBob like any other employee. Sure, he appreciates his work, but he rarely shows it. After all, in Mr. Krabs' mind, the Krusty Krab's success comes from one thing: himself. But in Welcome to the Chum Bucket, he learns just how wrong that assumption can be. It all starts during a card game with Plankton. The stakes keep rising until Mr. Krabs makes one of the worst bets of his life. SpongeBob. And somehow, he loses. Just like that, the Krusty Krab star fry cook is gone. At first, it doesn't seem like the end of the world. Mr. Krabs still owns the restaurant. He still has the Krabby Patty formula. And he still has customers. But what he doesn't have is the one employee who keeps everything running smoothly. Meanwhile, Plankton suddenly finds himself with exactly what he's always needed. Not a secret formula, not a fancy invention, a dedicated worker. Watching SpongeBob work for the Chum bucket quickly becomes unbearable for Mr. Krabs. For years, Plankton had failed to compete with the Krusty Krab. Now, for the first time, he actually has a chance. And that's when Mr. Krabs realizes what he's lost. Not money, not property, the heart of his business. It's one of the rare moments in the series where Mr. Krabs' greatest loss isn't measured in dollars. Losing SpongeBob forces him to confront something he usually ignores. The Krusty Krab's success depends on more than just its owner. Without SpongeBob behind the grill, even Mr. Krabs starts to wonder if the Krusty Krab can survive. For most people, selling a successful business for a fortune would be a dream come true. For Mr. Krabs, it turns out to be a nightmare. In selling out, a wealthy businessman offers to buy the Krusty Krab. And after years of chasing money, Mr. Krabs finally gets what should be the perfect deal. A huge payout. No more long hours. First, it seems like he's won. The Krusty Krab is no longer his responsibility, and his pockets are fuller than ever. It's the kind of outcome Mr. Krabs has spent years working toward. But it doesn't take long for the excitement to wear off. Without the restaurant, Mr. Krabs suddenly has nothing to do. There's no business to manage, no customers to serve, and no daily profits to obsess over. For the first time in years, he has all the free time he could ever want, and he hates it. As the days pass, he begins to realize that the Krusty Krab was more than just a source of income. It had become his purpose, his routine, the thing that gave structure to his life. The money is still there, but the satisfaction isn't. That's what makes this loss different from the others on this list. Mr. Krabs doesn't lose the Krusty Krab because of a lawsuit, a bad deal, or one of Plankton's schemes. He gives it away himself, only to discover that what he really valued wasn't the sale price. It was ownership. For a character defined by his love of money, selling out reveals something surprisingly important. Mr. Krabs doesn't just enjoy having money, he enjoys earning it. And once the Krusty Krab is gone, he finally understands the difference. For a brief time, Mr. Krabs has everything he thought he ever wanted. But in the process, he loses the one thing he never realized he couldn't live without. For a character who spends nearly every waking moment chasing money, Mr. Krabs comes surprisingly close to losing everything on a regular basis. Sometimes it's because of his greed. Sometimes it's because of a bad decision. And sometimes it's because he simply fails to appreciate what he already has. Across all of these episodes, one thing becomes clear. The things Mr. Krabs values most aren't always what he thinks they are. Whether it's the Krusty Krab, his life savings, or even SpongeBob himself, losing them forces him to realize just how important they really are. Of course, being Mr. Krabs, those lessons rarely last forever. Before long, he's usually back to counting pennies and looking for the next big profit. But for a brief moment in each of these stories, the owner of the Krusty Krab is reminded that even he isn't immune to loss. And when you're Eugene Krabs, losing everything can be a lot easier than making it back. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.